It's not been a good few weeks for Amber Heard. Now, we're going to start with the first clip and let's take a look at it.
As a result of the work that you performed, did you form any opinions with respect to Ms. Heard?
I did.
What were those opinions?
The results of Ms. Heard's evaluation supported 2 diagnoses: borderline personality disorder and histrionic personality disorder.
But I can't say I'm surprised. This is obviously something to be expected. You've been talking about this stuff for a long time. A lot of people have attempted to diagnose her with various conditions, but I guess it's very satisfying to see an actual psychologist who spent so much time on this case, who's even spent time talking to her personally, to have come to this conclusion. Yeah, I guess it's satisfying and vindicating in a way.
And I agree. And it's not often in life that people who have these kinds of cluster B disorders, that one of their defining traits is generally an inability to take or inability or refusal to acknowledge their flaws. It is really satisfying to see one of those people have to sit there and listen, be forced to publicly listen while a psychologist goes over their disorder in detail. I wish that more people with cluster B disorders would have to go through that, because I think that it's not something that happens often. No, absolutely. Good thoughts. Okay, let's look at the second clip and then we'll come back to it.
I'm really sorry, but I remember, I gotta tell the whole story, how they got there. Before they went and get the keys, they come down, they say, somebody tried to get into my unit, there's scratches on my door, and like, I'm really sorry, but who will think is gonna get into your unit because they saw some scratches on the door, like, 4 inches above the door? Because the dog was scratching the door, was trying to get in, and they thought about someone trying to break into the unit. I said, in my head, I was like, you think someone's trying to get into your unit? There's scratches like 4 inches above the floor on your door. That was the dog trying to get into the unit. And they were so afraid. Oh, someone's trying to get into my unit. They're like, oh, come on, really? All right.
I want to try to move along. So the incident was May 21st, 2016. You saw her the night of May 25th, correct?
Correct.
You said that you saw Amber Heard hundreds of times while she was there. Did Amber Heard treat you well, and was she friendly to you in each of these hundreds of times?
Yes. I'm not going to say no, because she was really always nice.
All right, this is my last.
Be nice.
All right, this is my last question. You testified in response to Mr. Presidio's questions that you testified.
We can all relate to this guy, to the way he handles this, how he just really doesn't want to be a part of it. And in a way, I see this, and also Amber's paranoia as it's being discussed. I see it kind of emblematic of broader Hollywood paranoia too, and how the whole glamorization of Hollywood and mentally illness a lot of the time, basically, I just think it's so ironic how what we're seeing here is these 2 people's private lives being a source of entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
Really like tension, confrontation, and everyday problems that a lot of people deal with. But in this case, it's being turned into a reality show. And because Johnny Depp is such a big celebrity, people are they're getting a lot of strange, I guess, bittersweet delight out of him being so exposed. And also Amber Heard being tortured, kind of by...
Yeah, it is a real spectacle.
Revelations. So what we're seeing here is a clash between fantasy and reality in a way, that this is a regular guy, a doorman who had this taste, this very brief experience of Hollywood and what these people are like, their issues, their paranoia, and how this is obviously a regular person who has very real stuff to deal with. He's probably just trying to do his job And these lawyers are asking him all these questions. You know, it's kind of a sobering, a reality check kind of moment, I think, for everyone following it.
Yeah, it really exposed the farcical nature of this, not to diminish like the pain of what the actual like participants are going through, right? But it is farcical. And so when he, I love it when he drives off at the end. It's just like he's just over it. Anyways, all right, we've got another clip coming up. Let's look at the third one.
I lost a fucking finger, man. Come on. I had a mineral can of mineral spirits thrown at my nose.
You can please tell people that it was a fair fight and see what the jury and judge think. Tell the world, Johnny. Tell them, Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp, man, I'm a victim too of domestic violence, and yes. It's a fair fight. And see how many people believe or side with you.
What do you think, Greta?
So if there was just one clip, I would want someone to listen to, someone who's really, who just can't be bothered about this whole thing. But if I wanted to give them an idea, a summary, this is what I would show them. I think this just sums up the whole thing very well. And it tells us everything we need to know about Amber Heard, actually. I mean, right. It's unbelievable. I mean, the first time I heard this for the first time a few months ago, and I just remember I couldn't believe my ears that someone would actually say that. I found it shocking, but unfortunately not surprising, because we know about the dark side of the Me Too movement. And it's not all that there is to the Me Too movement, but we can see how it has the potential to go very wrong and the potential to destroy innocent lives. And again, this just epitomizes that so well. And for a woman to really weaponize her womanhood, how she's being perceived as weaker, more fragile, more vulnerable than men by society more broadly in general. And just society's eagerness to always listen to people's complaints and grievances. And more recently, mainstream culture's eagerness to view women as perpetual victims and all men as potential predators.
Okay, we've got another one coming up. Let's take a look.
And I watched you lie, and then
I didn't punch you, by the way. I'm sorry that I didn't hit you across the face in a proper slap, but I was hitting you. It was not punching you. Babe, you're not punched.
Don't tell me what it feels like to be punched.
You know, you've been in a lot of fights. You've been around a long time. I know. Yeah.
No, when you fucking have a close
You didn't get punched. You got hit. I'm sorry I hit you like this, but I did not punch you. I did not fucking deck you. I fucking was hitting you. I don't know what the motion of my actual hand was, but you're fine. I did not hurt you. I did not punch you. I was hitting you.
I mean, this is just yet more evidence that Amber Heard is a real precursor to the Me Too movement, and just how fortunate timing was for her. I mean, because this really exploded around the time when society was just so receptive to women's complaints about this stuff and women's allegations, and everyone was primed to believe women, you know. And I mean, what we get here is that she's definitely an aggressive person, to say the least. And what the diagnoses say about her personality is that she's like the most extreme form. What she possesses is an extreme ability of manipulation of a very specifically feminine kind.
Oh, and I also thought it was interesting to really listen to this recording and really get into the mind of someone who's, like you said, who's trying to rationalize her acts. And it's really interesting here how she, obviously she punched him, but her way of rationalizing that is to say, no, it wasn't a punch, it was a hit, which is so ridiculous, as if the idea of her hitting him is okay. But you can just see, we're really getting an interesting insight into the mind of an abusive person who this inability or this refusal to take ownership of what they've done. Okay, I think we'll go on to the next one. That's Isaac Baruch. This is a childhood friend of his. He's a painter.
You're pretty angry with Ms. Heard, right?
When?
I wrote it down that you about the phony
pictures that were taken and put in tabloids, and about the fake narrative, and about and the way she's trying to got a fraudulent DV claim to extort and blackmail a man. Yeah, that kind of got me
pretty
frustrated, confused, angry.
So Elaine is Amber Heard's main attorney, and Elaine would really, I feel like she really let the things get away from her there, because she was trying to pin him down on something. And then she got a little bit confused, and she said, isn't it true that you're angry at Amber Heard? And then she kind of like got confused, and then he used that as an opening just to slide in there and just just to say, oh yeah, you mean about the DV claim and the pictures and so he's pretty sly.
So if he is angry or upset, it's justified, and anger is justified in some cases, and he explained that very well. I think that was very powerful.
Yeah. Okay, let's look at the next one, see what it is.
On one occasion, I was at the office, and I'd had a meeting with Dior, who had wanted to sit with Johnny and talk about working together. And Amber had come in and asked if she was interrupting us, and we said no, and we weren't supposed to really talk about the meeting with anyone. But Johnny told Amber that I had just had a meeting with Dior, and that they were interested in him. Her reaction to that was she was in disbelief and sort of disgust, because she said, Dior, why would Dior want to do business with you? They're about class and they're about style, and you don't have style. So it was the insulting.
So yeah, go ahead. Any thoughts?
I think this highlights another aspect of a lot of these Me Too allegations and Me Too hit jobs, similar to what's being done to Marilyn Manson, where you have a younger woman and an older man, and so many people are so ready to assume that it's always the man who automatically has the power, just because his intelligence must somehow naturally be superior to the woman's, which is, by the way, one of the most misogynistic things you can assume, that just because he's a man, he's more competent, because he has more life experience, he necessarily has more power, which is so obvious and not true. And I think this just shows us, again, it's a great insight into Amber Heard's personality, the kind of person she really is. And how, it casts doubt on whether she ever really loved him, or whether she's even capable of truly caring for someone.
People need to understand that in these situations where you have younger women dating older men, the power imbalance there is often on the side of the young, sexy woman who knows that she has a real hand to play. And in this case, I don't care that Johnny Depp had more money than Amber Heard. I think that the power imbalance in a lot of ways was on her side, and she was clearly aware of it when she was saying these things about him and to him. Anyway, okay, next, go to the next one.
Do you know whether or not Ms. Heard ever had a relationship with Mr. Elon Musk?
Yes.
She did?
Yes.
So again, it's dated August of 2017. And she says, dealing with breakup, I hate when things go public. See, I'm so sad. Having reviewed the document again, do you have an understanding of what she's referencing there?
I believe she's referring to breaking up with Elon.
You say seems like a press release. You weren't in love with him, and you told me 1,000 times you were just filling space. What are you saying there?
I'm saying, why would you be sad if you weren't in love with him to begin with?
And by him, you're referring to who?
Elon.
So this is Christian Carino. he was both Johnny Depp and Amber Heard's agent and good friend at one time. I think he's still Johnny Depp's agent, but anyway, he also was engaged to Lady Gaga, and actually at one point Amber Heard kind of insults him because he's trying to give her some advice about, hey, maybe you should date normal people, don't date someone famous, and she snaps back at him and says, well, you could follow your own advice. But anyway, but I just played this because I wanted us to talk a little bit about the Elon thing. I think it's interesting. I wanted your thoughts on this. I think it's interesting how she's still trying to play the sympathy card. So after Elon dumps her, it's back to this, oh, poor me, men are mistreating me once again.
Yeah, I mean, I quite like Elon Musk, so this is quite difficult for me. But again, yeah. This just shows us again how much power a beautiful young woman can have. I mean, if it really is true that she basically has Elon Musk wrapped around her finger, she certainly had at one point in her life. And I know you also believe that it's his child that she lost year.
Yeah. Jennifer Howell testified that Whitney said that after they'd broken up, they were in this fight over these embryos because Amber wanted to keep them, wanted to have one of them. And Elon, of course, didn't want her to. And so anyway, that's the theory, is that, and when Amber announced, or at least Amber wants people to think that it's his, because when Amber announced that she'd had this baby, she said, 4 years ago, I decided that I wanted to have a child or whatever. And it was the timeline basically back to when she was dating him. So what she's trying to imply is that when she was dating him, she decided she wanted to have a child. So I think she wants people at least to think that it's hers. Okay.
How much has Ms. Heard paid directly to the ACLU?
That would be $350,000 paid directly.
No, this is something that a lot of us have been suspecting for a while now, right? So again, it's very vindicating, and it's a great revelation to have they've finally been able to force the ACLU to actually come clean about these things.
She actually testified in court, and the UK trial was where Johnny Depp was suing a tabloid for libel, but Amber Heard was their star witness. She didn't have to be either. She did all of that. She wanted to go to London and tell her story, but she was their star witness for the tabloid. And anyway, she claimed, and this was her sworn testimony in the UK trial, that she had donated that money and that therefore she couldn't be a gold digger. And that was one of the points on which the UK judge based his verdict. He claims, he said in his verdict there that she was not a gold digger because she donated that money. So yeah, it's significant.
It does actually come up that they actually talked her out of, or talked the Washington Post out of talking too much about Johnny Depp, because she was going to include more references to him. And then the ACLU said it wasn't such a good idea, which is a good indication that maybe already at that early stage, they had a feeling something wasn't right. I mean, they had to be very careful anyway.
Yeah, no, they all knew. I mean, that's the thing. And I hope that's enough for this jury in Virginia, because they all knew. Everybody knew that they were talking about Johnny Depp, and everybody knew that they were trying to get as close to that line as they could without being sued by him. And so there's clear consciousness on all sides of guilt and intent and everything. And like you said, Amber was wanting to up the stakes. She was wanting to be more direct in mentioning him. I'll put in a clip of that somewhere too. Okay, you want to look at the next one?